Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we're talking all about small kitchens, how to design them. Your kitchen may be neat and petite and delicate, but that doesn't mean we can't do something incredible with it. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab a cocktail, and let's get into it. Now, one of the comments I always get whenever we do a video about kitchens or we talk about it or show it is like, I can't do that, my kitchen is too small. The exact opposite. In a small kitchen, you have the opportunities to do so much more than you do in a larger kitchen. It's not even funny. And one of the easiest ways to do this and make that smaller kitchen, no matter the size of it, it might be a micro kitchen. It may be just like the size of a large bar in a house, like it could be anything, is to go really highly built in with your cabinetry. And what do I mean by that? I don't love to see the side of a bottom cabinet. Like if you look at high-end design kitchens, and don't be afraid to look at a big kitchen in a beautiful large home for inspiration in a smaller one too, you don't often see the side of a cabinet. And that's because they abut up against a wall, or they may have like, a waterfall edge on it or whatever. But in a small kitchen, it may just be flanking pantry cabinets with the center cabinets. That's gonna get you a lot of storage. It adds a really strong built-in feature. It has a very high-end look to it. And it's something that, it's not a groundbreaking design element to bring into a space, but it can really change the storage and the look of the space meaningfully. Another built-in feature you could incorporate is extending your cabinetry to the ceiling. If you have, a loft or something like that, like maybe that's not realistic, but if you have a small kitchen where you could do that, even though you might not be able to reach that storage, you won't use it every day. It's great storage in a small space, so you can use it seasonally. You could put holiday decorations up there, or there's also some little like nifty things you can do for lighting that's built in. You can have LED lighting recessed under cabinets, into toe kicks even. You can do some interesting things with a cornice where you have lighting incorporated into that to really kind of elevate the luxury feeling in a small kitchen. That might not be for everybody, but it is something to think about and talk about with, like your joinery person, depending on, how much of a renovation you're doing. But I love a small kitchen because the possibilities are really great there. Something else I love about a small kitchen that you can do only in a small kitchen, okay, it's really hard to do in a big kitchen, is make it a jewel box. Go bold on the color. Do something interesting there. You have the opportunity, so why would you not do it? I hate when I see a little kitchen and it's like, oh, well, we wanted it to feel bright, so we painted everything white. Like, please, like, let's just add some extra lighting under the cabinetry. Like, let's have fun with it. Let's do something interesting. And that doesn't mean you have to go with a crazy color. You can. I love that. You can lacquer everything in like an apple green color. That's like super chic and interesting. You could do it in a pink. I love a hot pink kitchen. Why not? Navy blue lacquered. Oh, it's stunning. All of those are good options, but there's plenty of other things too. What's wrong with going with like neutral beige and taupes and some earthy tones and make it interesting? It doesn't have to be an all-white kitchen, basically, is what I'm getting at. You can do unique wood. You can do all sorts of things in a small kitchen because it's smaller and you have the opportunity to be more adventurous and go bigger. There's lots of features and details you can add that add to that. Some of those things are like wallpaper. If you wanted to wallpaper a big kitchen, the cost of doing that would be astronomical. Wallpaper is very expensive. It's expensive to have installed. It's expensive to have your walls prepped for it. That's, like why more people don't do it. It's kind of why it fell out a little bit of fashion. But in a small kitchen, you can go with a really high-end wallpaper, but like, you don't really need that much of it. Maybe you can get away with 1 or 2 rolls of it and just like this one blank space there or whatever. Go really built in on the cabinetry, take it floor to ceiling. You're gonna do the backsplash. You don't need a lot of wallpaper for this. So that's something to think about because it could be really cool and a fun area to do it. Even just going with metallics or interesting finishes and materials. In a small kitchen, you can also go more elevated with the decor and accessories. Like you can do an oil painting in a small kitchen and nobody's gonna bat an eyelash on it. I don't care if you wanna do an all black kitchen, give us something intriguing, something interesting. You can use your stone as inspiration for a color scheme and go really bold with it. Just remember that at the end of the day, it is a kitchen, so the materials you use, the things you bring in, like if you wanna use a high-end wallpaper, if you wanna bring an oil painting in, there is cooking involved in this space. So let's make sure they're either away from the cooking areas, as far away as they can be, or if you do a lot that has like grease and splashes everywhere and that sort of thing, maybe it's best to go with something a little more durable than something a little more delicate, even if it is more beautiful. That's okay. Just bear in mind that in a small kitchen, you can do a lot. Even though it's small, doesn't mean it has to be boring. Nothing in your life actually has to be boring. Nothing in your home has to be boring. But you need to have someone with an eye kind of come in and look at things or give you some advice before you make some big decisions. Don't be that person that like, you know, you think the floor looks great and then everybody else comes in and it's gray. There's a big trend right now on TikTok where it's like, colorblind people are like, what color is my sofa? And I thought it was blue and it's really gray. And they're like, well, nothing makes sense anymore. Sometimes you just need a designer. Sometimes you just need an outside opinion, somebody to tell you like, hey, maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. Not somebody that's gonna try and upsell you or somebody that's gonna tell you what you have isn't good enough. You need somebody that's just gonna be a reliable outside opinion. I say work with a designer. I would be that person. You could always book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic where you can show me around your home virtually. I can give you my opinions, my takes on things, or just things to keep in mind when you're decorating and furnishing or renovating your house. It's always really good to have that feedback there. So don't underestimate the value of it and check that link out in the description box down below. Something I often see people do or think in small kitchens is that they can't go with like a luxury material, or they think like, my kitchen's small, my budget's small, I can't do that. And it's actually the opposite, because in a smaller space, you need less of those luxury features. You know, like I said, wallpaper. If you wallpapered a big kitchen, the cost would be astronomical. It'd be so expensive to do just because of the sheer size of this larger space. But in a small kitchen, like, you don't have as much space, so there's not as much cost. You can do a lot of really, really interesting things in those small spaces. Don't be afraid to look out for them, and don't be afraid to shop some discount sales. Ask like, hey, do you have a remnant section? I have a small kitchen. I only need a little bit of this. Go in with the square footage of how much you need, okay, the dimensions, measurements, write that all down, and then go in and say like, oh, well, I need 20 square feet of tile. Well then, okay, like let's look at what's on sale. Like, do you have 20 square feet of it? You do? Great. Okay, cool. I got the high-end stuff for nothing because you have a smaller kitchen. You can usually go higher end, and it's a lot cheaper in a smaller kitchen than you could in a large kitchen. So do not think just because your space is smaller, it's not worthy, you can't make it beautiful, because often that's the exact opposite of the truth. One of the biggest issues people have in a smaller kitchen is just how busy they look, right? You know, it's a small kitchen. Like I said before, you need all of the same things to do the same things. So sometimes you just have too much stuff on the countertop. It's just busy. It just looks cluttered, a mess. One of the easiest ways to fix that, or correct it, let's say, is to use the same material over and over again on multiple finishes. You just want to be consistent about what you're doing, be it the wood tone, the paint color, specifically when it comes to your countertop and backsplash, because your countertop is the area that's going to get busy and cluttered and full of stuff. You know, you're gonna have a little appliance here, you're gonna have a little utensil holder with all of the utensils in it, and maybe you have the soap and this and that and all of the things sitting out there. One easy way to pull back a little bit or create that sense of calmness is to use the same material on your countertop and your backsplash. Just take the slab of stone or the tile or whatever you're using straight up the wall and be consistent with it. And what that is going to do is it's going to create that more built-in effect. It's going to create that more luxury effect that you maybe want in your smaller kitchen, but it also reduces the way our mind is looking at it, the way we're processing it, because we're not saying like, oh, this is this material and then that's a tile and then we switch to this paint color here on this, like, you know, you have all of that. It creates a sense of busyness. Pull back from that a little bit and only use one material there. And if you're gonna use two of them, make sure at least one of them is very neutral. Very high-end bars often have mirrors behind them. They will have mirrored subway tiles for a more glamorous look. That's something you could do in a small kitchen to really up the luxury factor in your home, and I think it's definitely worth considering. These are all really good things to think about in your space, because we want to up the luxury factor in a small kitchen. So even if you're doing like, oh, we're just going with the simple quartz, take it up the backsplash. Why not? If you have a smaller kitchen, you need less material, you may as well splurge and treat yourself a little bit and get what you want. The big thing with the mirrored backsplash though is that we want to move the outlets underneath the cabinetry, so they're not in the backsplash, and that's something also to think about. It's just another detail to add in there, and it could be a way to reduce a little bit of that extra visual clutter if you need it. Now, I know a mirrored backsplash won't be for everybody, and it may be a little bit edgy for some people, but I'm just gonna showcase great design to you, okay? That's what I love, and that's what we do here on the channel, so if you, maybe that's not for you, but maybe some of these other things are, definitely take a moment, hit that subscribe button and join us, become a part of our GarrettLeChic family. It's all about what's out there. It's exposing yourself to great design. We love to talk about it. We do 2 videos a week all about interior design. So hit that subscribe button, join us, become a part of our GarrettLeChic family. And for everybody that's watching that already is subscribed, that is a part of our GarrettLeChic family, sound off with one tip you've used in a small or a large kitchen that changed the game organizationally, that added a ton of storage space, that did something that changed how you use that space that everybody needs to know about. Sound off in the comment section down below because we need some creative ideas. I'd also greatly appreciate if everyone watching could give this video a like. An area in a small kitchen that's often overlooked is any available wall space. Any available wall space is a space that you should be adding some sort of storage to. A lot of times a small kitchen will be like a galley style almost, and you just have like one blank wall in the kitchen. It's like, what do I do there? Do I just put a piece of artwork in? Yeah, you could do that. You could just add some wallpaper on it and it would be great. But what I personally love is some sort of organizational storage thing that you can use to display some of your things, but also get them out of the cabinets and off of the countertops and get them somewhere that they actually have a home that's not in the way. Let's be real. If you have a small kitchen, you don't have a lot of countertop space. You just don't. I mean, like, you have an oven or a cooktop there that takes up a lot of it. You have a sink that takes up a lot of it. You may only have a couple of feet. So getting as much off of those countertops as possible is a 10 out of 10. I love a wall storage unit of some sort just because we can turn it into functional design that's beautiful, that's aesthetic, but has a lot of function. And something like a plate rack, for example. If you've got beautiful plates, and that doesn't mean they're designer plates or, you know, fine china. It could just mean like, hey, I got some plates that I really like. They work with my aesthetic and my decor and I don't mind looking at them and seeing them. Get a plate rack mounted on the wall, have them exposed there. Great, I can go and pull the plate off when I need it and put it back when I don't. Wonderful, 10 out of 10. Or if you cook with a lot of spices, for example, instead of having like spices just lined up along the back of the countertop, okay, let's get a wall-mounted spice rack and get them off of there, line them up, rejar them so they're all beautiful and aesthetic. Great, 10 out of 10, love that, enjoy it, appreciate it. All of those things are really great ways to free up some countertop space. You can even do that for utensil storage and all sorts of things. Get creative and get online. Even just the blank side of a cabinet can be a great place to add additional storage that you didn't know you needed, but could be a game changer for you. Now, there's a lot of good sides to having a small kitchen, and there are a handful of downsides. Design-wise, aesthetically, and how it looks. You know, some of the good things are that you can go big, you can go bold, you can do a lot in a small kitchen, and you can make it really interesting. But some of the downsides are all of the things you bring into the kitchen are going to have a bigger or a more proportional impact than they would in a large kitchen. One of those things are appliances. Your appliances are going to stand out a lot more in a small kitchen than they would in a large kitchen. You can get retro style appliances that are in vintage colors, or you can maybe select colors because they're kind of enameled and they have that. There's lots of companies out there doing that. You can get industrial style appliances like, you know, a beautiful high-end range cooktop for your kitchen that has a color on it that maybe works with your cabinetry colors. Great, love that. Even LG has like some refrigerator where you can customize the finish on it and the color. That's really good. But getting appliances that match your kitchen in some way or are toned down a little bit is a really good idea. Even if that means you splurge and treat yourself to built-in or panel-ready appliances, I definitely think it's something worth considering in your kitchen. Any little hack or trick you can do that covers up the metallic finish that appliances often have is a really good one to think about. Even if it's just going for a simple white or a black appliance, that's okay too. Just think about, how is this gonna feel? Is it gonna be overwhelming in this small space? Just depending on how big or small that space is. Maybe you even say like, you know what, I'm not gonna do a full refrigerator. I'm gonna do a smaller refrigerator, you know, like a Smeg appliance or something like that that has a retro look and a color to it. That's fun too. All of those are worth considering. Just bear in mind that, yeah, you're gonna have a big impact. If that piece is overwhelmingly large, like a big refrigerator, is gonna look like a big refrigerator in a small kitchen. So do you really want the attention to be drawn there, and how can you overcome that? When you have a small kitchen, sometimes you don't need to look at it like a kitchen. You almost need to look at it, like I said, a luxury bar in a home, or almost like a furniture piece. That can be really interesting too, and furniture always has a really great hardware. Your small kitchen should have it too. Your small kitchen needs to have great hardware, and you can have so much more fun in a small kitchen than you can in a big one, because of a few reasons. Number one, we're going for a jewel box here, okay? We want it to be really interesting. So like, why not have some fun and do some interesting hardware, you know, find some antique, retro, vintage hardware, find a piece of furniture you really like the hardware on, and then see if you can find similar hardware that you can buy brand new. You can go really high end with hardware because you probably don't need as much of it in a small kitchen. Hardware with backing plates on it are also really, really great. And if you have like an open concept small kitchen and you're like, I want it to be super minimal and chic and ultra modern, well, you can go with like an edge pull style hardware that's really thin and refined, and that can be really beautiful. There are also some sorts of cabinet style doors that they don't require hardware. They kind of have that like slanted edge to them, and then behind that edge where your hand goes, they'll put like a metallic detail there. That's really pretty to think about, but you know, that is kind of a custom feature you're gonna have to go with when you have the cabinets manufactured, so bear that in mind. But go and look for all sorts of unique and interesting hardware out there. And like I said, you can even do vintage hardware, because vintage hardware tends to come in smaller lots. Like, we just don't see as much of it or as many of those pieces, because like kitchens didn't used to be like really that big, or there was a staff in them, so like, why would you put luxury hardware in them? Anyway, you can find some of those vintage style hardware pieces that you could then bring into your kitchen. You could even be like really passionate about the hardware and be like, I wanna have it all custom made. You can do that in a small kitchen, because like, it's smaller. Like, you can splurge and treat yourself to some really great hardware. You can do a great faucet in a small kitchen. These are really good places to define the style of your kitchen, to change it or update it easily, because hardware is not always the biggest commitment. You already have holes in your cabinetry for it, so you may as well change it out and do something luxury there to really define the style and stamp it with that high-end look and feel. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you still have a little bit of your coffee or tea left over. If you're still looking for some more small kitchen tips, be sure you check out this video right over here to learn all about them, and I will see you over there.